Okay, I put the old antique back on there. And use my height setter. And all I really want to do here is just knock that sharp edge off. That's a done deal. I'm gonna flip it around and do the same thing to the other edge. Well, now I have the piece of angle cut. I have a 2 spacer round stock cut, and I have found a flat bar for the arms. Looks like it's about 1.25 inches, maybe by 1/4 thick. Okay, it's a little too wide, so I will have to cut it and then mill a little bit off of it to bring the width down. And that's where we're at right now. Well, I came out this morning and I started working on the project, forgetting all about the camera and making a video. This is pretty normal for me, but basically I have taken one of the bars. Let's see, this is the parts that I have, the 90, the 2 spacers, and the other bar, and I found something better to make them out of than the flat bar that I was showing yesterday on video. This is a bar that came out of a bar clamp. It came from Harbor Freight, and the clamp wasn't any good. It wouldn't hold at all, and I very seldom throw things like this away. I throw the heads away and kept the bar, and this is just about perfect. The bar that's on the one that I had purchased many years ago is 3/4 wide, and this is between 5/8 and 3/4. So yeah, this is a metric size, but it's perfect, and we're going to put a 1/4 inch slot down the center of it. And that's what I have set up for. Here on the milling machine, I have used the a wobble center finder and got between the 2 jaws here and got in the center. And now I'm fixing to move in a little bit and adjust the cut. And I'm going to be cutting a bar about 3¼ inches long in the center of this bar. I knocked some of the burrs off of it here, but this was a very good cut. I know there was a little smoke coming off of it, but it was not hot at all. There was no discolored chips. As a matter of fact, when I finished the cut and I put my hand on it, it was barely warm. It was the oil that I'm using. I like to use that spray oil in a lot of my things that I do like this. Let's see, can I zoom in on it over there? When I'm drilling holes or something like this, and it's hard to get the brush in there. If you do get the brush in there and put a little cutting oil on it, it has a tendency to eat the end off the brushes from being caught between the metal and the milling bit. Well, this thing spray cutting oil works great in that type of situation. Other than that, I prefer the cheaper cutting oil. I get it from Ace Hardware, and I add just a little bit of Never Seas into it, and if I'm threading, I might even add a little bit of bacon oil or bacon grease into it. It seems to make the cutting a lot smoother, and that's what works for me, and that's what I like to use. This is more expensive, but it's kind of handy being able to spray it into holes without getting your brush hung up and eaten. And that's my mark. 3.5, which is a quarter off the end, which is a 3 1/4 cut. You know, looking birds out of the way. Big boo-boo, I forgot to lock it down, but since it's a all the way through cut, it's okay. It is a little warm this time, but it's not hot, it's warm. If I can't knock some of it off, run it over to the belt sander, and then knock some of these little burrs off of it, make it look pretty. Okay, so now I have the two arms milled out the same. I have the two round bushings up here, and I have the base right here that I will have to cut some as soon as I get the right measurements. Alright, the next thing I need is a flat that I'm going to use as a piece to lay the work on when you're grinding. And it's going to take me a little while to find something, because I don't just have anything laying around. So I'm going to start looking, and I'll get back to the project as soon as I find something. Okay, I found a piece of flat, I guess you can call it flat bar now, since it looks like it's been cut. This is scrap from some other project long ago, and this is certainly a lot more heavy duty than what I really wanted, but I think I'm going to use it. And I'm going to change my plan. Instead of welding a flat bar, square bar on top, I may, since I got this much thickness, I may just go ahead and mill a square slot in it like the other one that I'm copying. So now I think I'm going to get just a rough width measurement and put it in the bandsaw and see if I can't cut the right width out of it. Using a roughing bit, I just milled a slot in my rest plate for the grinding disc to fit. Using the bandsaw, I have cut a small amount, about a 1/2 inch off the top, and I have marked. If my mark shows up, I have marked a mark, basically using the item that I have. Well, I don't think that mark shows up very good. So that's roughly about another 1/2 inch to cut off of the bottom, and this is where I will drill a couple of holes to mount it to the top of my cabinet. Okay, having cut this base piece here with the saw, it has kind of introduced some imperfections. As you can see here, this piece is setting a little crooked here because the walls here are not exactly square. It doesn't matter because we're going to kind of straighten it out. This right here will have a little bit of a tilt one way or the other, but because it is angled, let's see if I can get the light down there. As long as this back of this angle is setting on the base of the mill, then it's flat. And now I'm going to use a I'm going to use a milling bit to run across here and take a small amount out, just enough to true and flatten this and make it parallel with the base. And then we're going to do the same with the top here, so that our top piece will not be setting up here for our tools to rest at an angle. It too will be parallel with the back. And this is not rocket science. This is not a high perfection, high precision project, but we want it very close, and that'll bring it close. Okay, I just made the cut, and of course now this is not the ideal way to set up. The ideal way would probably be, see if I can get another light shed on this thing back here, yeah. Would be to put this back here up against this fixed jaw, but because this angle and the opening here, if you tighten this front jaw, more likely it's going to keep picking it up in the front and putting a little bit of an angle on the top, which I don't want. I want that pretty well flat, basically parallel with the bottom, which I've tapped it down pretty good to get it setting down good. And now I've made the cut. But one thing you want to be aware of making a cut like this, with something like this held in the back, I don't know if you can see it or not, but these sides are not perfectly square because of the bandsaw that I have, but that's okay if they're not. I'm really not even concerned about that. I can set it and hold it like this, but your direction makes all the difference in the world, because you see the long leg of the angle is coming in this way and it's setting on the leg. So when you feed in and the blade rotation is this way, it's going to hit back here and it's going to be putting the pressure on the bottom leg and it'll hold. If you feed in from the back, your blade's going to be hitting here and there's no support back here. More than likely it will tilt out in your vise. So you need to pay a little bit of attention to the direction and how it hits when you're holding a piece less than perfect. Okay, well that one is cut pretty well flat. Oh, I should say it is flat. Now I'm going to flip it over and do the other end and get the end right here. That end really, I'm not even sure which one I'm cutting. This should be the top. This should be the bottom. This really doesn't matter. This does nothing whatsoever here on this end, so I may not mill it at all. I have to think about that for a second, but I don't think it serves any purpose. I think this gets a couple of screws at the very bottom just to hold it down, and this edge here is pretty much flush with the edge of my cabinet. I have to check and see and make sure I didn't do it backwards. Okay, well, since naturally I did have it in upside down, I had to switch it over and mill the other end flat and true, which is probably the best way it should be anyway. Now that I have done the top is all that really mattered anyway, because the round spacer bar is going to set on the top, and in order to hold it nice and true so that I can weld it without it rolling and moving all over the place, I would like to have it like a V-groove in the top. But I don't have anything to make the V-groove, but I think I can use just a regular square milling bit, and I'm going to place this back in the vise, probably the same orientation I had it before. It would really be better if I could do it the other way, but then I'm going to need a spacer of some kind to push up against it to hold it there. If I do it the other way, I'm going to have to indicate it with an indicator and see if I can't find the spacer. We're going to put it in the vise and try to mill a small groove, maybe a 5/16 or something here, very shallow, just to set this on top of where it will sit still so that I can hold it better while I'm doing the weld. That's the plan. It got a little bit of movement to it, so I need to be just a hair deeper, then it will rest on the two outside little lips. You can see what I'm doing, maybe. You know, light's always a problem, but there's a slight little notch being cut in here, and it should rest on the little ridge, and it does pretty good, but there's a little bit of movement. I'm just going to make it about another 10 thousandths deep, and that should let it sit pretty firm while I have a hard time knocking it out of alignment while I'm welding it. Okay, I'm fixing to do a little weld. Here's my setup pretty much. I just got the angle in a vise. Got it pressed up against here to hold it tight. It's in the little notch that I cut out. And I'm going to just put a couple of little welds on each end, on each side, and that'll hold it just fine. I wanted to show something. These are two Harbor Freight auto darkening helmets, and they're both great. These are very good helmets. I think I paid $39 for this one and about $42 or $43 for this one. And man, it's hard to beat. I liked this one so well. When I was working, I bought another one and took it to work to use for my personal use instead of using what the company had that I worked for, because this was really a great helmet. The only problem that I had was I started doing a lot of TIG welding on some real thin aluminum here, and I would turn the voltage way down. And if the voltage is way down, the auto darkening things here on this lens would cut off a lot. I get flashes, and it doesn't take very many flashes on the TIG to give you a headache. So I started looking around, and this was a different one they had on sale one day, and I bought it, and never had that problem out of this red one. But now, there's nothing wrong with this one unless you're doing some welding down to, you know, below 10, 15 volts, real low voltage, and then that's when it starts flashing and hurting your eyes. But this one, it seems to go way down. I haven't had any problem out of it. It works fantastic. I just thought I'd throw that in there for anybody who's looking to buy one. Now, what you're doing may be entirely different than what I'm doing. You may have different results. I mean, I don't want to stick my neck out for something I don't have nothing invested in Harbor Freight, so you know, I don't get nothing out of advertising from them. But when I find a good product, I like to pass it on just like everybody else, and let people know, hey, this is a bargain. But if you don't have either one and you think about buying one, I'd suggest the red one. Costs a few bucks more, but if you ever go down some low voltage welding, the one I have works much better than the blue one here. I don't know how good the Chinese are on their quality control. One may be great and the next one may be a piece of you know what, so who knows. I mean but anyway, the one I have here works great for real low voltage, and I recommend it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead. I don't have anything to show welding with no kind of lens. Besides, you wouldn't want to see my welding anyway. I'm not a great TIG welder. But we're going to just do this anyway, just to be sticking it down and get this part of the project done. Thank you.